Now you've just caught me picking a whole load of these beautiful beans. I get infatuated with these because they're so lovely. They're fresh and green and young. I don't know if you can see them. Young and sweet and tender. Now, this is the beginning of August, and quite often the beans have passed their best, and some of these have passed their best, but it's not the time to tear them out yet. The beans down the bottom of the plant that I've just been picking, they're still quite young and fresh. They've been coming up because I picked the last lot down here and the next little tranche has come through. But the beans further up, there's one of the young sweet ones, you see. Nice and young, crisp, fresh, beautiful. But further up the plant, you get a few of these kind coming up. See these big lumpy things? These gnarly looking ones? Some black ones in here. That's because inside here the beans have started to grow. When you're picking them young and fresh, you're eating the pods really, and the pods are sweet and delicate. When the beans start to grow inside, the pod itself starts to get a bit tougher, and it starts sometimes to get a bit furry inside as well. Now you can still chop them up and put them in stir fry, they'll be great, but I like to leave them on the plant now. Now what will happen is, the plant will continue to feed these pods and the beans inside them will swell. When they get massive, the plant will stop feeding them, the leaves will dry off and die, and the pods that are left exposed to the wind and air will dry right out. Now when that pod dries out and becomes almost papery, that's when you pick them. Because inside you'll have the plumpest bean that you can either put in your curries and your stir fries and your stews in the winter, or you can save a whole bunch of them to save you buying beans to plant next year, because these will plant on absolutely beautifully and you will know where they came from. So save a whole load of these. There's about 4 or 5 beans in each one. Maybe save 20. That should give you 100 bean plants. All this wall here has come from 1, 2, 3, 10. So you can have 10 walls of beans like this from a bunch of these pods. Now, because you're leaving them up there doesn't mean that you can't use this space that's down below. Down below here, remember, your bean stem is as thin as a straw. That leaves a lot of soil around it or a lot of compost. Now you can either put some more runner beans in there now, and with this weather we're having now, the heat and the warmth in the soil, those beans, especially if you put them in water for 24 hours in the house first, they'll be softened and they'll grow quickly, and they will actually grow up the net and get some height on them before these ones are dead. So as these ones are dying, your new beans will be growing up and you'll get a second harvest of them this year. Now if that sounds like too much trouble and you've had enough of beans, you're up to here with beans, then the soil underneath here is perfect for planting your lettuce, cut and come again, radishes, pak choy, all your quick growing leafy greens, your spinaches and your chards will grow between the existing beans. Remember, they're not taking so much goodness out of the soil now, but even still, if you think they have taken the goodness, just top the soil up with a bit of fish blood and bone, put a bit of your own compost on, feed it with your liquid feed that we showed you how to make a few weeks ago. Keep feeding that soil. These plants will continue to grow and they will mature those beans for you for next year. Your new plants will come up, and even if you do put beans in, pop a couple of plants in as well. Put a few lettuces in. They'll come up very quickly, and in 4 weeks you'll be eating fresh lettuce or fresh pak choy or fresh rainbow chard from a little space that wide and that long. Now I had someone contact me the other day to say, as I've been harvesting loads of beans, and I've harvested so many, what do I do with them all? Well, what I like to do with these ones is I steam them and I put them on with the dinner. Or if I want something a little bit special, I might chop them up and then stir fry them in with some egg fried rice or something like that. If I've got too many of them, I blanch them and then I pop them in the freezer, and they're good for 6 months in the freezer, so I'll be getting lovely crisp beans out of the freezer right through the winter. They can go in stews, curries, casseroles, pot roasts, or I can just steam them off and put them on with the Sunday dinner. if I want to go and push the boat out, I can salt them as well. Saltwater brine, store them in there, they'll last you 6 months. My favourite thing to do is to take a few of the other veggies, some of them might be just past their best, and I make a piccalilli out of them. Now, for those of you that's not from the northeast of England, piccalilli is a mustard pickle where you use all your tail ends of your veg you've got, you pickle it up and you add a lot of mustard to it, and you get a bright yellow, spicy, hot, pickled relish that goes fantastic with fish and chips.
A few moments later.
Now the bed's been cleared, I've pulled out all the weeds, but what I have left in, you might be able to see, are these alpine strawberries. Now they'll just sit in there right through the winter, and then early next year I should get some nice little clumps of alpine strawberry. Now these things have nice long runners as well, which I'm not sure if you can see. They've kind of grown and set in. Look, there's a one there. This is a runner from an alpine strawberry, and you can see it's got it's got 3 new plants on. Now I'll pop those in along the edge of the bed, and then they will root down and grow in for next year, which means I'll end up with a lot more alpine strawberries. Now the kids love them, so if I've got a nice bed of alpines here, I'll be their favourite person in the world. But in the meantime, let's have a look at this. So I've cleared out all the weed and I've taken out the bits of grass. The bean plants themselves are still in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant in the gaps in between. I'm putting 2 different crops in. The first one that I'm putting in is rainbow chard. Here it is, little rainbow chard. Remember, in these cells, put 2 or 3 seeds in, you get 3 plants. You can take it apart like that, and there's 2 plants straight away. I'm going to put them in with a bit of a gap in between them, and you'll see why in just a minute. This can solve your problem of the hungry gap. You know, the hungry gap that's next year when the winter's done and you've got no salad veg up and your greens have all gone and you've got that bit of a gap. Well, this next crop I'm going to put in solves that problem. I've grown it every year now for about 20 years, to be honest, and it's never let me down yet. It's a beautiful, fresh, crisp salad veg. And I know you wouldn't imagine it, but it really is. A salad veg for the winter, you're saying? What can that be? Well, it's not wild rocket. It's actually winter purslane. Now, purslane is one of the most beautiful little crops you've ever planted. It'll self-seed if you leave it each year. Very fine seeds, almost like a little bit heavier than poppy seed. And all you need to do with it, really, to plant it in, is sprinkle it on the ground anywhere. Now, you can grow it in pots if you want. Or if you've got a cold frame, you can just sprinkle it around. You can just sprinkle it on your bed anywhere. Not your bedroom bed, you know, your flower bed or your vegetable bed or wherever, and it'll do really well. And all you do is you just sprinkle a bit on like that, and it's as easy as that. Now I've put that whole packet on there. I don't know how many seeds were in there. What will happen is that seed I've put in there will settle down into that soil and compost, and it'll sit through the winter, and come January it'll start to come through. Even if you've got snow there, it grows under the snow, and by the time the snow's melted or the ice is gone, suddenly you have a carpet of beautiful, small, succulent green leaves with a tiny little white flower in the middle. It's a cross between like a lettuce and a watercress without the peppery taste. Really tasty, beautiful for salads. So all I'll do with that is just rough up that bit of soil where it went, a bit of compost. I'll pop a bit more water on there in a minute, and that's the job done. Now, the idea is that the rainbow chard will come through, the beans will fall back, the chard will come through like this, and as the chard's harvested and finished, turn of the year, the purslane will come through, the claytonia. And it's such a super crop. I've grown it right up next to the beach on the west coast of Scotland in Giles, and it still grows. It grows in just about any climate, but it does like it a little bit colder. So it won't start to grow until those first winter frosts arrive. Now those frosts will be here in about 6 weeks, which is why I'm starting to harvest out clean the beds and replant again before that frost arrives. It's important to get that kind of continuity of crop going, and the best way I know to do it is to start cleaning out your existing crops end of August, get your new stuff in so it comes through late September, ready for the winter. Now, let's get a few more in.